Hello, welcome to Remote Workshop. We are two 100% remote working, niche based recruiters having conversations, building, and doing remote business. We're talking with folks in either civil infrastructure or IT automation space. And all of our discussions can be found on Remote Workshop YouTube channel.
My name is Blake Pellerin, and I place civil engineers and land surveyors at consulting firms across Texas. My company is called Civil Search Consultants, and it was founded in 2017.
And my name is Eric Stigge. I place IT and automation resources in a variety of markets all over the country. My company is called Converge Resources and was founded in 2019.
Last time, Eric spoke with Corey Curtis, who, what have I done? Last week, Eric was speaking with Corey Curtis from Smart Vault, and this time we're chatting with Bonnie Moss, who is the co-founder and president of MBCO Engineering here in Houston, and I'll let her introduce herself further for any other things she'd like to mention there. Bonnie, I think you and I originally met, I think, at the TechStop short course, and I think it was pretty funny because I followed up with you after that, and you directed me, or you asked me to just follow up with the person that was doing kind of your HR recruiting, a lot of those sorts of things, and it ended up being someone that I had previously worked with for several years, Ani Benavidez. So that was a pretty fun connection to begin with. But thanks for coming on and jumping on to catch up. So I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you, Blake and Eric, for hosting this and inviting me to come on and talk. It's truly an honor. I really appreciate it. Blake, sure. Like you said, my name is Bonnie Moss. I'm president and co-founder of MBCO Engineering and Surveying. And just to expand on that, we are been in business since 2015. So we celebrated our 5-year anniversary this year.
All right.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Very exciting. And we have about 27 employees. Half of our business line is engineering and the other half is surveying. With respect to engineering, we do general civil, but traffic, transportation, drainage, paving. When I say traffic, I mean TIA, signal warrant design, water line design. Callie Bletch, my business partner, does large diameter water line design. She does phase 1 ESAs, right-of-way acquisition, and with surveying, that's, like I mentioned before, that's half our line as well.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah, just to further expand on us, we have all the acronyms in the book. We're a hub, DBE, WBE, SBE, small business.
Right. So that means that you probably do, well, obviously a lot of your work. Well, is it fair to say that all of your work is on the public side rather than working with private developers?
It used to be. I would say probably about 75% is government agency type work. The folks that we do work for on the government side, we have do work with Metro, Harris County Flood Control District, Harris County, Brazoria County, Fort Bend County, a lot of the small, not say small, but local municipalities, including City of Houston, but we have the City of Waller, City of League City, City of Pearland, Missouri City, City of Mont Belvieu, City of Fulshire, a good variety of small cities that we do work for. But also on the private side too, mainly on surveying, with respect to Centerpoint Energy. We do a lot of surveying for other engineering firms as well who do private development. Right now we're doing a lot of surveying for Whataburgers and whatnot, things like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And have you guys worked at all with, well, I don't know, would you work with mud districts, or do you work with them on the front end with, well, I guess not really some of the developers, but have you worked with mud districts yet too, or?
No, not yet. We'd like to. Of course, we want to work with everybody. So, but no, we have not.
Yeah. Do you want to explain your friend over your left shoulder?
Yeah. So we've had this giraffe as our spirit animal since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think is the name, but I don't know. But you can see that she's dressed up for COVID virus, so we're being safe here. But I think every company should have a spirit animal. I think we picked the giraffe because it's always reaching and stretching, especially during uncertain times. We have to kind of be reaching and stretching to think through things. So I thought was pretty great for today.
Yeah, very good. I think I've seen on LinkedIn or wherever else the social media is for MBCO, it seems like there is, I guess a big question is, what would you name your pet giraffe? Is that what I see a lot?
Yeah, we do a lot of focus on, key employees, and we like to ask them key questions and off the wall type questions. And I think one of the questions usually is, what would you name your pet giraffe? And the answers are all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my friend Dave's was Roscoe. I think if I remember seeing that. Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Everybody should have a pet name called Roscoe, is what he said. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, so for MBCO as a whole, so you're the president of the company. But for MBCO as a whole and for yourself in your role, how would you define success? So for the company MBCO and also for yourself, Bonnie, as a president.
Yeah. Well, that's a really big question.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So as a company, I think we define our success as a company and we're lucky because we're so brand new, but success is people are able to come in and just make waves. They're able to kind of come in and do what they do and make processes and put things in place and kind of make MBCO their own almost from the very beginning. And when that happens, they get ownership of the company. And because of that, we produce a really good product and everybody's really happy. And I would say that's the biggest success of the company.
Yeah. Yeah. And as and it seems like you guys are really building a culture in that way where there's a lot of, it's like buy into the processes or whatever that we've put in place, and that it's rewarding, at that point that you're rewarded in that way. How about you as president? Do you set I don't know, like metrics or bars for yourself to determine for yourself, am I being successful or not?
Yes and no. I mean, you start a company really not knowing, especially if you're an engineer, you really don't have a clue. At least I didn't. When we start something, I was an engineer for 27 years before we started the company, and you work for a lot of different type of companies and you get a different taste of this and that and how things are done, but you take for granted what is already set in place when you start a new company. So you're constantly having to adapt as you go and put things in place. So what you might be measuring on first year may be totally different on year 5. But what I will say that when we started the company, for me personally, I was really excited to start the company and I'm going to be my own boss. Yay, all this freedom. What success is for me now is entirely different. Success for me is really being able to employ 27 people and seeing the joy in that and having the people come in, employees, and make their mark and take ownership. Yeah. And that's really cool. That is really cool. For me, that's like huge mark of success.
Yeah. I think it's a real modern American, as we get more technologically advanced and more interested in our processes and moving forward and in progress, quote unquote, whatever that might mean, there's a lot of pressure to define success in very tangible forms. But it's not always that way, right? I mean, sometimes it's just.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've taken our plans. We have a plan. We have a great plan. We're going to do this plan. Everybody's excited about the plan. Write the plan down. Plan fails. Okay, so take the plan, crumple it up, throw it away. Okay, start the new plan. Beauty of that is that we learn from that old crappy plan and we start over. We're not afraid to do that over and over and over, whatever it takes to keep going. And each time we get better and better and better. And I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's cool. It's cool. And that's why this company is, we're very driven culturally, and it fits well with that type of thing. We adapt well. We like being around each other. So it's neat.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just going to deviate a little bit here on culture a little bit too, because I see the other picture in the background. Is that you finishing a marathon, half marathon?
Yeah, about 2012. When I wasn't doing this company, I had a little bit more time on my hands. I was into triathlons, and I wasn't athletic at all growing up, but I got into it later and had a wild hair and decided to do some triathlons. And then 2012, I did Ironman Texas, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, and one of those life-changing moments. Everybody that I knew back then in the triathlon community, they'll ask me, when are you going to do another Ironman? I'm like, there's no way. I'm doing one right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, it's yeah.
Yeah, and that's been fun to hear you and Dave and some of the other folks in the company talk about how like that, that's kind of part of the culture too, is you'll encourage each other in your extracurricular interests and endeavors and stuff like that. And it's like part of your life there within the company too, which sounds really cool.
Yeah, it was cool. We had a couple folks, not last December, but the December before, no, January, sorry, do the Houston Marathon. And it was really neat to watch them train through it and go through it and encourage them. It was really neat.
Yeah, that's super cool. Well, so obviously, Eric and I, the way this whole remote workshop thing came about is, coronavirus really kind of forced people to think about how they would do work if they couldn't interact face to face and physically with people on a regular basis. And so that's what kind of brought up some of the questions of, okay, right, so before and after, what did it look like before? What does it look like after? And now at this point, it's still a very real pandemic here in the United States. We feel like we're it varies from place to place, from state to state, even city to city. But we're relaxing social distancing measures here in Texas, for example, and here in Houston, where we all live. So we're maybe on the other side of the hump, but let's say before March, and times before March and for the few years past, what was your average work day? What would it look like there at MBCO, like within the office on a daily, weekly basis? What would that kind of look like before kind of forced social distancing?
Yeah. It's funny to think, if you were to ask somebody what social distancing was back in January, nobody would have known what the heck that was. And now it's just a word, but I have to laugh when I hear that. But gosh, back then, what was it? I can't barely remember, but yeah, it was just making sure that the health of the company was going the way it should be going, that we were watching over finances on a weekly basis, meeting with folks who were in charge of accounts receivable, accounts payable, things like that. Operations wise, making sure things were going steady, smoothly, projects were getting out. Marketing, business development, a lot of that, a lot of face-to-face meetings, a lot of phone calls, a lot of driving, a lot of going to commissioners' courts, a lot of face-to-face meetings, a lot of dinners, lunches, breakfast meetings, a lot of Ahmed talked about ASHI, a lot of those types of society meetings.
Yeah.
A lot of that. So pushing and driving the business development to make sure that we had the backlog of work. Absolutely. That's, making sure that all the areas of the business are just running as smoothly as possible. And for myself, just jumping in where I needed to assist to help with anything that was deficient.
Yeah. And with you guys, versus what Ahmed deals with on a regular basis too, you guys have a full surveying group that goes in the field and collects a lot of data. Can you talk about that a little bit too?
Before?
Yeah, before and after. I guess we can mix it all up.
Yeah,
Before and then, working through the whole
yeah,
COVID-19
absolutely.
situation.
So yeah, we have 4, 5 survey crews, depending if we have 2 or 3-man crews. So yeah, not a problem. Come here to the office 6 o'clock. Just go out, have your meeting, go and do your work, and come back, and that's it. COVID-19 happens, and it's like, oh my gosh, okay, now what? Nobody knew anything. We still really don't know anything, but now all of a sudden we hear work from home. What is a critical business? What do we do? If survey crews aren't going, then there's no data to process, and then all of a sudden there's no CAD technicians in surveying to do the work, and so there's a lot of stuff to kind of process really fast and to get plans in place really fast and to become very adaptable very quick.
Yeah.
So, but we did it. We got everybody working from home very quickly. I'm fortunate enough to have an amazing husband who owns his own IT company. So he was able to, who happens to do our IT work. And so we were able to get everybody working from home using AutoCAD, MicroStation, whatever it took to work from home remotely. No, we had some hiccups, and that should be expected, but we got everybody going at home. Survey crews, we were able to still do surveying work, and we still were very, very busy, which was great, but they had to wear, this and all that stuff, and just be very careful and cautious, hand sanitizer, all that stuff, the PPE, everything they had to wear. So that was able to go. And then when they issued the 25% to come back, office building type stuff, we allowed for the technicians to come back. Now, so that was good because they wanted to be in the office, using the big plotters and printers and stuff like that. They just couldn't do that at home, and that worked for us. As far as me, everything changed completely. Watching the news, reading executive orders from the governor, and seeing what Lena Hidalgo had to say, and just adapting constantly and just being ready to have a plan for the next thing in place. If she said something was coming next week, just, okay, so what are we going to do for that? Always thinking ahead and trying to prepare for that next step. Whereas before, when I had help, when I still have it, I was limiting people coming in the office. So I have been more involved in the details and the weeds of the company. Coming into the office, checking the mail, processing checks, and doing, just to make sure that all other staff could stay at home, and making sure that the business was functioning. So things like that. That changed a lot. So, and I was still doing the business development too, but more phone calls, calling folks, and Callie Bletch, much the same, calling a lot of people, no face-to-face meetings, or if it was through Zoom or through this, but just a lot of questions, what's going on? How can we help you? Just staying in touch. It's really important. That's what's changed. Just no, face-to-face interaction, human to human in the same room type stuff. But we had to just, adapt that way, and then just pay attention to executive orders, and just like right now we have a few more people. Right now, no more than 10 people in our office space. We have a pretty big office space, so everybody's pretty spaced out pretty well.
Yeah. I think that stands out to me. They trying to figure out like because there's all these recommended guidance and how to go. Now there's executive orders, and then but they're based on the recommended guidance. So, but there's a lot of gray areas in there too, where you're trying to, and maybe not necessarily gray areas, but you're trying to figure out how it applies to your situation. And for civil search, and I'll speak for Eric, and basically, we're recruiters and we work from home, and most of our work is virtual by nature of what it is. Yeah. But I also, so I serve in a leadership role for the rugby club that I play for here in Houston, and like full contact rugby is not happening right now. So we gotta we got to figure out how to, and so World Rugby, the national governing bodies, put out their, recommended return to play protocol. And so USA Rugby's just put out theirs. Now we're listening to our local advice, and that's a whole thing that we're trying to figure out. But I can only imagine, you being in your position and having full field crew and people come into the office too, to have to figure out, right, okay, so how do I do this in a way that's not, and it's not something that you're doing for, like, your business is, it's for business. It's not just something you do on the side for fun, like I do for rugby. But, it's like, we got to do this. So.
Yeah, most days it's for fun, but yeah, no, I hear you.
Right.
And you said how is everything different after? I forgot to add in the personal element of all this. I have an 11 and a 13-year-old. I had to learn how to homeschool as well. So trying to make sure that was working at home, and while all this was going on at the same time. So yeah, I'm a horrible homeschool teacher. That's for sure. I learned that.
My wife teaches second grade, and we have a 2 and a 4-year-old at home. And she said, teaching the kids at school is easy. Teaching my own children, I don't want to have to do this again.
If they continue on with this stuff at home, I'm gonna have to hire somebody.
That's funny. We had a discussion 2 days ago. Exact same thing. I think neither one of us can handle it.
Eric and I are both married to teachers, so we both at least have the perspective of being in the same place while they're trying to implement like a remote learning structure. And then Eric, you've got both sides of that, right?
They're reaching on top of me, and my wife's in the other. I'm hidden away upstairs in my office, and my wife's downstairs trying to Zoom call with her kids while she's got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old crawling over her, wanting attention.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, you're right. There's
at least we're laughing about it,
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
But you're right. That whole personal side is a whole nother, ball of wax. That's kind of the foundation, really, of this whole conversation, anyway. So, yeah.
True.
So you've talked about, you've shared a number of things, just, the before, during, and even some of the after here. But would you say there are any particular biggest challenges that you're facing just right now where we're at, and what are you kind of working on? What are you doing about them, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, just making sure we have a good backlog,
Yeah.
a constant stream of balance right now, and making sure that we're staying on top of that. What you do about it is just, you don't let the throttle off with respect to business development and phone calls and staying on top of that. That's huge, especially during this time. Whether there's work there or not with your clients, you just need to stay relevant and in front of everybody. And that's it.
Yeah. You just got to keep, continue the behaviors, I guess, is the things that we talk about a lot. You just got to keep going.
Yeah. And just stay positive and you can't strive for perfection during COVID-19. So be easy on yourself, I would say. That's been the biggest advice to myself. So I gained 5 pounds, so what? Hey, so it's things like that have helped a lot.
Yeah, we've never owned a scale at our house until last week.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and then I was like, all right, I gotta keep myself in check here and start figuring that out. This is pretty funny. Yeah. So, but you don't know until you know, right? Like you don't know, you can't do anything about it until you know what the situation is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our biggest challenge too here is just, like I said, we're a very culturally based company. And so what's been hard is that, we've been separated and trying to maintain that culture. We still have folks that are out of the office, about 4 or 5 folks that are out full time. So that's hard. We like to be around each other. And so just maintaining that culture is just tough. But that's challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to maintain that culture because we are, it's good to be in touch with people, and being in front of them, you get that full range of communication that you just can't get. I mean, this is great, but it's not, I can't shake your hand, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's tough.
It's
So
we had our managers meeting. We were having it remotely like this. We had our first one last week together, face to face, and what a huge difference, huge difference. Yeah, but
yeah. So do you have any notable successes that you would point to say, man, I'm really proud about that we were able to accomplish while just during this time?
yeah, I mean, I'm just really proud of every single employee of MBCO. I mean, the fact that just hands down, the mentality was let's go, let's do this, and no complaining, just get it done. People were adaptable, they were agreeable. We did teams, we didn't stop. We just went and we kept going.
That's
So
great.
yeah, all things just kept going on all cylinders, and a few hiccups here and there with respect to small stuff like IT stuff and maybe a few communication issues, but it's I'm just proud of the team because I just know that when we get back together full time in the office, that it's just going to make us even better, when we're around each other full time. So it's really, really proud of everybody. So proud.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So, is there any particular, is there a tool or a concept or strategy that you've leveraged at this time, especially in remote work, let's say, that you would call like a game changer in recent months?
Yeah, because just being in business new 5 years or so, like I said, we're engineers by trade, but we're learning to be business owners at the same time. I rely on folks to kind of help with learning how to be business owners. And I got some valuable experience from people. And the game changer for me was just learning how to have plans in place. And I took some notes here because I didn't want to forget, because I think it's really, really valuable information.
Mm-hmm.
And having a good plan in place will really just kind of keep you calm and just kind of keep you going steady and peacefully. And a good, I think it was 7 points I took to this plan. The first thing is cash. Understanding your cash. What are your funding resources? What's your cash flow? Doing some kind of cash flow analysis. What does it look like? And controlling your costs. Where can you control your costs? Looking at all that. The second thing was, what are the key indicators that you need to look at? Our projects, are they canceled? Are they delayed? And that's a big one, because that's obviously going to affect your cash.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at accounts receivable, looking at cash in, cash out, and analyzing your current position, with respect to accounts receivable, accounts payable, work in progress, looking at all your costs, like I mentioned before. That's what we were able to do. Things that we took for granted before, kind of didn't really look at closely. We really took a close look and were able to cut the fat, and we'll change things a lot differently moving forward. And then from that, you can update your cash flow projections, your profit and loss statement. You can project that out and see what that looks like. And then from there, you can run different scenarios if you want to. Now, what does that project or the P&L statement look like if 25% of your workload goes away? Well, then you can tweak things to figure out what you got to do. What if half of your workload goes away? So then you have a plan for that. So then what you do is you just make a plan for every different type of scenario. So once you do that, then you can take a nap. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have things in place, and once you have a plan in place, there's nothing else you can do but relax a little bit and know that you've done everything you can do.
Yeah.
And
so
that,
go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just going to say that's been a game changer for me. Because when this thing first hit, I was just thinking, wow, okay. I started, I think with everybody else, I know it's not over, but panic. What ifs? What if this? What if that? Well, you kind of have a plan in place for these different things. It takes the takes the what ifs out, and you can rest easy a little bit and then focus on what's important.
Yeah. So rather than, are we going to be okay if this happens? It's more, no, when this happens, this is what we do. Like, let's plan for when this happens. And then you do that in various scenarios, and you got different levers then that you can pull on. And yeah. That's
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, anything else you want to add or ask us or whatever, just to anything else about what your whole thoughts are about this situation?
Well, like I said before, I think it's we don't know much more yet. They're relaxing things, and nobody knows if that's the right thing to do or not. But I'm deeply saddened for a lot of the businesses who've gone under. I feel that we're in a work for us has not slowed down. It has picked up like crazy. We are very busy, and we're very, very fortunate, very lucky. But I feel horrible for a lot of the businesses who are not, people in the restaurant business and whatnot. It just, it's awful. So with respect to opening things up, I do understand what people are trying to do with respect to getting the economy going again. It's just, we'll just have to wait and see,
Yeah.
But the great thing is that we've been busy, and so through this, we've hired about 3 people. So that's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for y'all.
Yeah.
Are these new grads or seasoned vets or?
They're more seasoned vets. It's more on the field surveying side.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's really great. So through this, hopefully, I don't know the details of the employment history of each person, but hopefully I provide a good opportunity and some employment for some folks. So happy about that.
Yeah, that's good. Good deal. Well, do you want to, here, I'll throw this up here just so people can show or can see if they want to get in touch with anyone, but do you have any other places? I've got your website up here. Any other places that you might direct people to find out about MBCO or about you or your work?
Yeah, you got us up on the website, right? The www.mbcoengineering.com. We're also on Facebook under MBCO Engineering, and also LinkedIn under MBCO Engineering. So they can find out information about us there too.
Yeah, they can find out everyone's pet name for their giraffe.
Yeah.
That's for sure. At the very least. Cool. Well, thanks so much for jumping on with us, Bonnie. Appreciate it.
No, thank you both, to you, Blake and Eric. I appreciate you very much for doing what you're doing. I think it's fun, and it's just great to see people talk about their thing, doing their thing and sharing their experiences through this. It's different for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. Thanks for the time. And thank you guys for checking out the remote workshop. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell icon, and be notified when discussions are posted. If you're in civil infrastructure or IT automation and want to jump on a chat with us, reach out. Thanks for checking out Remote Workshop. Goodbye.